Okay, hello everyone. It's 9 o'clock, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Lynette here, sharing a quick little layout that I made using some fun art anthology products. A little sleepy today, sorry. First, let me just go over quick little things. Gonna show you some techniques using the chipboard to get the extra dimensional dots there that you can see on the Beautiful. The background we're going to create using a blank cardstock. So from this to this is the game plan tonight. So I hope you enjoy what we have in store for you. And let me run through real quick the products that we're using tonight. Going to use a couple different colorations. The gold is just it's a fairy dust, so it's just a shimmer of gold. There's no actual color in it, just a shimmer. I have Heart here, Timeless, and Warm. Just a real earthy tone for an autumn-themed layout. They went along with the two-dimensional gems that I'm using today, Garnet, and I lost my cheat sheet. I think it's not Topaz. I'm sorry. I'm losing my brain there for a second. But you can see that it's a gold. And when you look at the page, you would think that it would be orange, but it's because I had mixed the two together to get that color. Third product we used was the Metal Effects gold. And it went really well with the color combination that we had picked as well. I started with my cardstock, and if you can hear that grit, that's because I added some gesso, just a clear gesso, just to give my paper a little bit of grit so it would stand up to the different mixed media products, the mist, the paint, just so it wouldn't get all crazy and rip on me. Okay? And I'm sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied. I haven't had a lot of sleep in the last couple days. But we're going to get through this together, and you'll bear with me, and we'll make a pretty layout. Okay? So I'm going to start by building my background. And the first layers that I usually do are always mist, is usually where I start. And that's where I started with this one. For this one, I started using the dot matrix, one of our fun stencils. And I did something a little different with this because I didn't want the dots really, but I wanted some control over where my mist was going. So using one of my towels, I use a lot of towels. People use paper towels. I use towels. I don't really know why. I just started spraying, but then I went back through and I pushed the mist through, so I really wouldn't get just the dots. I would get a little bit more of a blended pattern. Okay? So I'll do that again. Pull it up a little bit and push it through. Okay? And as it starts leaking, you can see it's not just the dots. You're getting a little bit more random. And by not really holding it firmly in place, that's so the common mistakes that everybody hates is what I'm actually trying to achieve here. Okay. Just kept moving around the page to add my yellow in. Well, gold, not sure what you, mustard, rust. Okay. Then just flip it over. Remember, I'm trying to get something that's more random. I'm just trying to build up a background. Okay. So I guess I'm almost using the stencil like a tool instead of a controlled pattern. Okay. Now I didn't want this to bleed, so I went ahead and I'm gonna dry that up a bit. Okay. From there, I used a quick credit card and I failed to clean it. So let me see if I got another one. Okay. So just one of those little credit cards, or the cards that you get from everywhere all the time now. You can't go shopping anywhere without a card of some kind, and then you lose it and you use your phone number anyways. At least I do. Anyhow, sorry, sidetracked. I just started mixing my dimensional gems to get the colors that I wanted for my background. I wanted that real rich autumn color. Maybe need a little more than that. So I'm just putting some down on my craft mat, and I'll work them together a tiny bit. Used more of the gold than I did the red because I didn't really want it to be too red. I wanted more of the orange just with peaks of red. Okay. So blend those together, keeping a little bit of the red and a little bit of the gold on the ends, if that makes any sense. Using my standard real hard technique here. Just dab it around a bit and start moving it around. Now I got a little too much red over there. So I could just add gold to it, or because I do have the gesso on there, I can blend it a little bit more. Here I'm gonna just use a little bit of spray and lighten that up a little bit. There we go. Because the gesso's there, it'll make it a little more cooperative. It looked fine. It's just, not exactly what I wanted, so I might as well go back in, right? Most of that's going to get covered up by your layers on the side to balance the page anyways, but I don't want that to be the beacon that I'm staring at the whole time that I'm making this page. Okay. Okay. Second layer done. Woohoo! We are moving right along. Let me dry this up a little bit. I'm going to pull out my next stencil that I used. The next stencil I used, of course, was the Cracked. You guys know I love that one. One of my favorites. It gives a nice varied pattern without too much rhyme or reason. Works well. For this one I used a little bit of the warm. Any of the browns would have worked. The warm is the one that I grabbed. Again, not trying to get a real distinct pattern, just trying to move it around. Wanted to flick a little bit and dab. Okay. I'm just shaking a little bit of that mist off. Okay. And just unscrew my cap and flick a couple more dots of brown. Because, hey, why not? Okay. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and go back in with Timeless and do the same thing. Okay. Give that a quick once over, and I'm going to move on over to some embellishments. And give this a second to set. Hello. Okay. I'm going to move that off to the side. And I'm going to use a little bit of... So I cut these off camera just using a Tim Holtz die through a Big Shot, just out of some craft cardstock. I'm going to cut the bird off. I don't want the bird. He's cute, but I don't want him today. Guess I could use him later for something. Probably should throw him away so he doesn't wind up in a bucket in my craft room, because that's the last thing I need is more stuff in my craft room, right? That I will never find and cut another one out anyways. Okay, there's my rant for the night. Anyhow, these would have been fine on there just the way they were, but I wanted to give them a little sparkle, just a little bumped up extra. So I just wanted to use a little bit of metal effects across the top of them. And I just went ahead and painted right on top of my craft mat. And just added a little bit of a shine to them. And it's really hard to catch it on camera, but it really does add quite a bit just using this. And I could have used the fairy dust as well, but by using the metal effects, I just gave the paper a little bit more protection. Made it a little bit more durable to work with the mist and the paint. It's kind of just sealed it in, instead of using a layer of gesso. I used a layer of metal effects. Plus it's fun to work with. Gives a little extra texture here and there. Whatever, it's a dimensional paint, so whatever peaks and valleys you have there, it's going to stay. So that makes it fun too. Okay. One branch done. Put that off to the side. So it's ready for us later. And the next one. Okay. Okay. Can't believe I left my iPod at the gym. At least I left my whole locker locked, so that's a good thing, I guess. Okay, so no music. It's very hard to craft without music. Slightly clean up my mess and move along. So I was, shopping for the clearance rack because I needed something to have duplicates to share with you guys tonight. So, $2. Woo! Well, it would have been 97 cents, but I needed to. Anywho, I went ahead and I used a little bit of colorations for this because I knew it would dry really fast, and then I went over top just a little tiny bit with the Dimensional Gems just to give it more of that shimmer. Okay, so just painting it right on, and because it's a wood, because it's a wooden word, or it's not, it's a wood veneer, it's not a true chipboard, it just sucks it right in. So the color is just going right in really fast, and it dries really fast using the colorations instead of the paint too. So that was an added benefit. Okay. Big trick here is not to knock over my bottle of colorations and not to turn everything red. I do have a big yellow spot on my carpet from Glorious, which is a beautiful color. Not so much on gray carpet, but that's okay. I told my husband it wouldn't last having carpet in here, but what do I know? I think his exact words were, "Don't be so messy." Yeah. Because that'll work. Such a pretty color. I think we got lots of new reds coming out. Can't wait to see them at CHA. I think there's one coming Valentine maybe. I don't know. It's gonna be pretty. I can't wait. Let's see. Okay. So that's on there. Give that a quick dry. Now, while that's pretty just the way it is, I did want to take that one step further and just add a little bit to it, because, got to give it a little something, something. So, pulling out dot matrix. Now, you can see it's got little spaces. It's going to leave openings, but that's okay. It looks pretty cool. Just put it right over top my wood veneer. And using my Metal Effects, I'm just going to work that right in to my title. Okay. Now, some of it's going to go on my craft mat, and some of it's going to get stuck to the sides, and that's fine, because wherever it lands on this wood veneer, it's going to dry, and it's going to leave those fun little dots that you see. So see all these little dots right here? Kind of hard to see all those little dots. They're bumpy. And they just give it a little extra. That's the best part about these kind of layouts. It's all the little extras. Ah, look at them stuck there on the craft mat. That's pretty cool. Okay. Give that a quick once over, and I'm going to put that right back in my bottle. Well, maybe not all of that because it's a little red. Okay, that's better. I'm going to put this off to the side and let that dry. I'll hit it with a heat gun later, but I got some time right now, so let it sit for a few minutes so I don't cook it, make it bubble. Okay. One thing that I like to do when I'm using a cardstock is just to edge my paper in. So just using one of my pit pins. You could use a sponge or a marker, or even dab your finger in paint. I just like to frame my page a little bit, finish the edge off with a marker around the edge. So real quick before I go any further, let me do that. Normally I do that at the very end, but because I'm putting things right on the edge of this page, I just figured I better go ahead and do that real quick. Okay. So, now I did a little bit of background stamping, and I just used whichever script stamp I had. I think this one is actually Bo Bunny. It was a clear stamp, and I just put it on a little bit of sponge. I'm pretty sure it's Bo Bunny. I used some brown StazOn, but I didn't want it to be really dark. So the little trick that I used for that is just have another piece of paper on the side. And you can kind of see where I did it. So just ink it up. First stamp over here, and then stamp. First stamp over here, stamp, stamp. Stamp, stamp. And because I'm not really, it's just a background stamp, I don't want it to really be a dominant force in the background. I don't want it to be a focal point. Just trying to add a little bit. Try to keep it rolling it along and not the whole stamp. Some places darker, some places lighter. When it gets too dark, dab over. Okay, just keep that going. Okay. Okay. Probably gonna have to go back to that, but for right now I'll leave that be. Get back in frame and start building up my sides. Now, I'm assuming that you guys can color a piece of book. You know, it's just an old book that I must have did something, altered the cover, and I got the pages just thrown in my scrap bin. So I just grabbed a sheet of book and just covered it with Timeless. And this is where I got all my extra little layers from in here. Okay. So missed that, set it to the side, let it dry, and move along. But I didn't think that you needed to really see that, just for the sake of time. Now this, another Big Shot, just cut a little piece of craft cardstock and ran it through the embossing machine, ran it through an embossing folder, I'm sorry, I should say, just to get those little ridges. See those little ridges? But I want to make sure that those little ridges stick out. So using a little bit of Dimensional Gems and my finger, you know, real high-tech tool here. Just try to get the top of those edges. Not all of them, just some of them. Just give it a little pop. Okay. Just working that along. No, don't do that to me, buddy. Got a little goop on my bottle there. Okay, now it should close. Yep, there we go. Okay. So it just added a little bit extra. Okay. Let me dry that real quick. Okay, set that over to the side. Now, page sits up like this. I'm going to work here. So, let me get that going. Okay. I used a little bit of washi tape to build up my side. So I'm going to do that again real quick. Everybody's got lots of washi tape hanging out in their craft room that they need to use because we all bought it last year or the year before because it was the thing to do. So use that tape. It's great for extra little layers, doesn't add a lot of bulk. Use it up. I'm going to take one of my branches and lost my little stamper. Going to add a little bit of stamps on him. A little bit of ink and just stamp on my branch and just rub that in because I can work that in to the metal effects. Just didn't want it to be so monotone. Excuse me. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just building this cluster here. You can see. Okay. What I did for this is I just cut this branch. Just cut this branch. Okay. Put that on there. And then let's cut this one off. Now work in like that along there. Get an idea where I'm going here. Okay. Don't know what I did with my glue, so I'm just going to use hot glue real quick, just because it's so fast. I'm going to cover that up a little bit, in a couple places. Real technical, just ripping up a piece of book. It's hard, guys. It's hard. Lots of extra layers there and really no bulk to speak of. So it will fit in the frame, it'll fit in your book. That'll be good. It's all good. It's all good. Okay. Okay, get that branch on there too. Okay. And just trim off the edge. Okay. Now I'll start to build up my primary cluster. And I'm just going to trim this photo down because I know that I did that originally. And it'll look significantly different if I don't fix that real quick. Okay. So to start building this up, I'm going to go ahead and figure out where my placement is going to be. Okay. So I want to be placing my washi tape to extend this. So figure out where my placement is and add some tape. My placement and add some tape. Get my main base down. Just a little bit of glue in the middle so I can still work around the outside. So I can still work tucking things in, tying some string on, some twine, whatever I want to add later on. Always leave a chance to tuck something in. It's just easier that way. Okay. Just continue to tuck. Tuck and build. Just keep building up your layers. A little bit here, a little bit there. Okay. I'm just going to tuck this branch right into the picture. Okay. And the picture will tuck right in there. See, just made that little tuck there. Okay. A little more washi, just some letters. Anything that was brown or muted that would add a little bit. I'm just going to tuck that under there. And I didn't have that on the other page, but I'm going to add a little bit more over here. Okay. Again, just adding this washi tape in. We have it. We need to use it. Use your washi tape up. Can't say it enough. Okay, next. Now you can see, those dots? They're even hanging on the edge there, and they'll stay there. As soon as they're dry, they'll be there. They will hang tough. So I'm going to dry this a little bit up so I can get this in place. Oops. I got butterfingers today. Okay. So just a quick recap where we're at so far. Build up the base layer. Just some cardstock ran through an embossing machine. A little bit of paint. Washi, book. A little bit of cardstock ran through and die cut out. Book, washi. Same thing over here. Okay? So the only embellishment that I bought for this page so far was the title. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and put this in place because I'm going to tuck my picture in later if I don't have it. Because I don't have a duplicate and I could not find another leaf picture to save my soul. And I am out of ink. So I'm just going to glue on the bottom and add that in later. Okay. Now that's in place. I still can tuck. Still can tuck. Perfect. Going to go ahead and add some twine in. Because everything's better with a little bit of twine, right? Plus it's easy. Easy. You buy one of these crazy little spools for, I don't know, $1.50 and it'll last you forever, and you just cut at it and cut at it and cut at it. Okay? This is why I did not glue this down, because I knew I wanted to tuck this in here. So I'm going underneath that layer and wrapping it around. Some people would do this first. I don't know, I guess I want to make it difficult. Yeah, it's okay. Not too tight, because you got to remember you got to have room to slide your picture in. No, my picture. The picture. Okay. Play with it until you're happy with your bow. Slide these over, give them a little crisscross. Whatever you want to do. Move it around. I always like to make them cross. I don't know why. Cut some extra string off. Now you can glue these down if you have a specific place that you want them. I usually just try to tuck them in, tuck them under a layer, tuck them in a letter, just kind of work it around. Okay, just a little bit of extra. Okay, moving right along. Okay. And this is the hardest part of this layout. mainly because I do not have my sequins in an orderly fashion. To dig out some sequins. Wanted to stick with the color scheme. Didn't think blue would be great on there. Oh, I guess it'd be okay. Who knows? I just went with orange. Orange, gold, some yellows. Maybe it's a beige-ish color. I don't know. But I didn't take anything other than that out. I didn't look for certain sizes. It's just whichever ones I grabbed. Whichever ones I could find. Because this is something else you have in your stash. You need to use it. So use it. Okay. So a couple little dots of glue. And add in your sequins. Okay. And again, you could use regular glue. It's safer. You won't burn your finger off. You won't have to worry about picking the strings off. I'm just doing this because it was easier time-wise. Quicker. It's just quicker. Okay. Got some little, there. Just a little bit more. Okay. Next I added a little bit, I added some chevrons, but I think that I made a mistake doing that because I don't think that I have any that match that are the same size left of that Wow chipboard. So let me just fish around here. I forgot that I added those. Let's see what else I find in the stash. Let me add the stars. I got some stars. I think these are Studio Calico. I'm not sure. Pretty sure. I tend to make my clusters in groups of odd numbers, 3, 5, 7, just to kind of try not to make it too I don't know. I have a tendency to make things overly balanced if I don't try and work in odd numbers. I don't know. I think it's an OCD thing. Who knows? Like right now it's bothering me that I put 2 big ones there and not a small one. But we'll move along. Okay. And you can see that they're really light, and I wanted them to be a little bit darker. So I just colored the top of them after they were glued down. Okay. Because they were easier to color after they were not moving. Okay. There you have it. I think I'm in just about 45 minutes, and then I did add the chevrons here and here, but I don't have those, so You get the general idea. I think you guys got it. Pretty quick. Definitely goes quicker the second time. This page was not that quick the first time. But it really turns out pretty. And you know, it started from a plain piece of cardstock. You get this pretty layout out of just a plain piece of cardstock, some washi tape, a book. What? Some cardstock, a die, some string. I mean, nothing really fancy. Just using your stash and lots of your paints, and there you have it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So, thank you so much for stopping by today. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm not sure, I couldn't read the questions. If there was any questions, or if there are any questions. Okay. I'm seeing crap. That's not great. I hope it's okay. Lemon cooking. Okay, God knows what Stacy's doing. Okay, ladies, you have a good night. I hope that you liked the layout. It was pretty. It was pretty. I liked this one. Hope you did too. Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you next month. I'll have something festive for you. Promise. Promise, promise, promise.